Hello, Catamounts. Welcome back to another episode of Chats with Cats, where we interview the students beyond the athletes here in Catamount Nation. I'm your host, Alexander Hoffman, and today's special Senior Sendoff episode, we are going to be interviewing dual sport athlete Sadler Miller. How are you doing today, Sadler?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, for one final Chats with Cats interview, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Please tell us what you do in athletics as a dual sport athlete here at Western.
Hi, everybody. My name's Sadler Miller. I'm a senior here, and I'm on the women's golf and track and field team. And I'm majoring in interior design and minoring in art.
Awesome. Has the experience of doing two sports gotten easier over your time here?
You know, I think I thought it would. And this year wasn't necessarily the hardest schedule I had to deal with, but it felt so much harder this year. It's probably just, more emotion, stress, all of it. I was like, I don't know how I've done busier schedules in years past, because this year, it's been hard. And it's kind of surprised me that I've been able to do it this long.
Yeah, every time that you mentioned the two sports, I remember the very first interview that we had you on, it just hit me. I was like, I don't even understand how two sports is possible. And then you're not even in one of the typical student athlete majors of sport management or a business or communication. It's interior design.
Yeah.
So I don't understand either. What would you say has been your favorite moment in each of your sports over your career at Western?
I would say probably my favorite golf moment was Puerto Rico. I think it was last year. And I've been able to shoot under par before, but last year at Puerto Rico was the first time I did it in a college tournament. And I remember I had a really good day. I started off 7 under through 7, and I didn't really know what was happening. And I kind of freaked out and kind of got in my head a little bit. But I remember coming down to the last hole, and I knew that if I parred the hole, I would shoot 69. And I had a really uncomfortable yardage on my last shot, and I had to fly water and everything. And I remember my heart just pounding so fast, but hitting a good shot, almost making the birdie putt, but tapping in for par, shooting 69, first time collegiately in Puerto Rico. That was pretty cool. So that's probably my favorite golf moment. And then favorite track moment, I would probably have to say last year at Outdoor Conference. Me and Amani were two of our best high jumpers going up against kind of for the title. And there's one really, really good jumper from Sanford, and we had just cleared, I remember we just cleared a bar and she had missed it. So it was just me and Amani. And then I remember Amani was going right before me, and it was 5-7, so it would have been tied for my PR, and she clears it. And so then it's kind of all the pressure's on me for me to clear it. And I think coming to Western, mainly for golf, I never really thought I could win at high jump, or I just was doing it for fun because I loved it. And so I never really thought it was possible. I'd see all the older people on the track team with their medals and everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. And then I remember I cleared it, and me and Amani ended up doing a jump off, and kind of took a really long time, so we ended up just tying for gold. But being able to win a gold medal for a sport that's not my main sport, that was something I was pretty proud of, because I felt like I kind of finally proved it to myself that I can do it and it is possible. So those are probably my two favorites.
I think for the track one especially, I think the fact that it was just you and another one of our Western athletes makes it even more special, because
awesome.
It just narrows it down to the two of you.
And it was at Sanford too, so that was cool.
That really sticks it to Sanford, since they couldn't, jump as high as you guys.
Yeah.
But we will kind of move through to the next question. We did speak about this briefly at the live show, but what kept you at Western for all 4 years in the crazy landscape of NIL, the transfer portal, and would you do it all again?
I think it's definitely become more of a topic of discussion now. And I definitely haven't taken advantage of NIL probably as much as I could have. Just because a lot of the times it's an afterthought, and with how busy I've been, I just haven't even. And that is one thing I do wish I would have done more of, just because there's so much opportunity out there nowadays. But Western to me they really just gave me the opportunity to do something that a lot of other programs probably would have just immediately said no to. And them allowing me to do it all 4 years, and I know the scheduling's been crazy, so thank you, coaches, for dealing with me for 4 years and allowing me to do it, because that's how I'm here. But it's really, like, I've also loved the mountains. And so the mountains, the hiking, all the beautiful golf courses we get access to in Cashers, and just, I don't know how to describe it, but Western really is a big family. You can meet someone in the athletic or academic department once, and then the next time you'll see them, they know your name, and they're asking about you, or they're following up with you about your golf tournament or whatever. Like, it just seems like everybody is such a tight-knit group of people, and that's, to me, what really stood out when I first got here and why I didn't want to leave, because obviously doing 2 sports is hard anywhere, but Western made it possible, and they made it feel easy and fun, even though it is hard. And that's something that I will forever be grateful for. And it just feels like something that I'm just going to be so glad I did.
Yeah, definitely huge shout out to our athletics department and our coaching staff for women's golf and for track and field for allowing you to be able to do those, especially, again, through a little bit intense of a major. But if you could go back to the beginning, what would you tell your freshman self about deciding to do 2 sports?
I think I would definitely tell myself to do it because it's something that I want to do, and not to try to prove to everybody else that I'm good enough to do it. I think that's what I struggled with a lot, was I felt like I needed to prove to everyone that I was good enough to do both, and that I wasn't just gonna ride the bench or, not be competitive in both sports. I wanted to, part of me wanted to prove to other people that I could do it, but I also have kind of learned over the years that I need to do it because I love it, and because it's something that I enjoy and that's fun, and not for other people, and not to get credit or validation from other people, which is hard because sometimes as athletes, we look for that a lot. But not everyone's going to know how hard it is. The only person that knows how hard it is you. And you're going to take on a lot of burden, almost not wishing people understood, but feeling like there's so much that you do that goes unseen. And you kind of have to be okay with that, because that's part of the process. And that's what you have to work for to be able to do what you get to do. And it's, it can look pretty and glamorous on the outside, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that you have to know it's going to be hard, and not many people are going to see it. And you got to, at the end of the day, do it because you love it.
Yeah, kind of along those lines as well, with the things that might go unseen. What's the hardest part about your schedule that you think might surprise people?
I would definitely say, and this year's been really hard on me as well, I would definitely say nutrition and cooking. I've got a partial meal plan on campus, but a lot of the times, doing 2 sports, you've got to eat healthy, especially, for hygiene. We have to stay, pretty lean. And so golf and track, golf can take 3 to 5 hours a day, and then you might be driving 30 minutes to an hour to the course. And I'll go straight from weights to class, straight from class to track, straight from track to golf. So if I didn't meal prep, I don't have time to eat. And a lot of times I would get lazy and be just so tired and exhausted that I would put nutrition on the backside, because I would almost prioritize sleep. But if you prioritize sleep and then you completely lack on nutrition, the scales are going to be way off. And golf's really hard because tournaments can be 5 days. So you could be gone 5 days in a row, get back late Sunday night, and then boom, your whole week starts. And you didn't really get a reset day to do laundry, to cook or anything. It's just constantly on the go. And this semester has been the hardest because as grateful. I was super excited in the beginning because surprisingly no golf tournament and track meet conflicted this spring, which is a first. But that being said, I've only had one free weekend. So it's literally alternated between golf, track, golf, track, golf, track. And there was a period of time where I was like living out of bags and I was gone for 2.5 weeks because we had indoor track meet, and then parents drove me straight to the airport that night, and we flew out of the airport for our Puerto Rico tournament. We got back from our Puerto Rico tournament and drove straight to Hilton Head, South Carolina, and had another golf tournament. So that was probably the hardest stretch I've had to do. And a lot of the times you don't think about nutrition because you're eating out, you're eating pretty good, on the road. And I kind of didn't really think about it much, but I had a really hard time in the heat in Puerto Rico and Hilton Head. And I've never really had a hard time before. And I was like super dehydrated, exhausted, just like dead. And my parents, like they were worried about me, and I like didn't really know why, because I was like, yeah, I'm exhausted, but I got home and lost a ton of weight unintentionally. And so it's really something that if you don't think about or focus on, it can kind of start to tear you down, and unintentionally too. So that's something that can be really hard for athletes that have a really busy life. It can be really easy to get stuck in the just eating fast food, eating whatever's quick because you don't have time.
Yeah.
So that's probably been the hardest part this year.
Yeah, I would definitely say that that's something that a lot of people probably don't think about going into athletics, especially with like doing the two sports like you do, but even for a traditional student athlete, is the nutrition aspect and how important that is and integral to like literally everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very good that you brought that point up for any student athletes watching or non-student athletes so they understand a little bit better about that. What would you say comes next after graduating this spring?
I am going to stay in the area. I love Cullowhee and Silva and Cashers so much. I couldn't leave it just yet. So I'm not jumping straight into a 9-to-5. I'm going to caddy full-time at Wade Hampton through November, and I'm going to kind of set aside some time to travel because you can decide your hours. So it makes decent money. So I'd like to travel as much as I can and enjoy the golf connections that I have while I've got them.
Yeah, and get a little bit more rest in since you've been going go all 4 years. But we are going to move into our lightning round, just 3 short little questions with some short little answers from you. What is your favorite event to watch, not just compete in track?
Ooh, in track?
Yeah.
In track, I would definitely say my favorite event to watch is probably javelin. It's an event that I briefly tried my freshman year, and it was really, really fun. But you don't really think it's going to be that hard until you do it. And I was like, wow, yeah, it's harder than you think. So watching people that are really good at it and make it look easy, that's really, really fun.
Absolutely. What is your favorite post-meet recovery snack?
Ooh, I would definitely say our track coaches always have this in the snack bin, so thanks, track coaches. But it's the gummies that have the liquid center. That is like when I dig through the snack bin, that is what I look for.
I don't know that I've seen them.
They're the like organic. They've got trees on the box.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to find those at Walmart next time I go, I suppose.
They are at Walmart, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What is your favorite competitive environment or location you've competed in for each of your sports this season?
This season, I would definitely say for golf, one of my favorite tournaments every year is going down to Lake Oconee. And we've got some amazing donors, Kenny and Mel. Shout out Kenny and Mel Messer. They will take us to dinner multiple nights that trip. And it's so fun to know that there's donors out there that care about us and support us and pay for us to be able to do what we love. So that tournament is always a special one to me. And then for track, I I'm probably gonna say this past weekend we went to Duke for a track meet, and that's close to home. And so my parents, brother, both my grandma's boyfriend and his mom were able to come out and watch me. So that was really special. And unfortunately, battling an injury, it didn't go well. But I think having them there made that easier. And also, like, growing up, you know, doing high jump in high school kind of for fun, and like my main sport was golf. I never would have thought I would be jumping at Duke at a track meet. So that was kind of cool. So yeah.
Yeah, as a college basketball fan, Duke, not exactly high on my list of places I want to.
Don't worry, I'm not a Duke fan, but the architecture, you can't appreciate it.
It's a cool campus.
Yeah.
But moving on to our last couple questions. No longer in the lightning round. After being the starting point for our regular conversations about mental health in the show, what do you hope for in the future of college sports with mental health?
Mm-hmm. I think for me, it's good that mental health is more of a talking point, and it's never really been a huge. It's not something I've struggled with a whole lot, but I will say this semester has been the hardest one I've had to kind of get through, and so I would say that a lot of times mental health, you don't really think it affects you until it can start affecting you, like, physically and emotionally, and a lot of times there were moments in this semester where I just felt so stressed and overwhelmed all the time. And that can take a toll on your body physically. And I kind of saw physical reactions at like Puerto Rico and Hilton Head that I just never really thought would happen to me. So when it did, I was like, okay, wow, like you really do have to take care of your body, nutrition wise, sleep wise, but also, like, you know, mentally too. And that can look different for different people, but it can, it's not always just in your head. And I definitely kind of found that this semester and realized that, you know, you can sometimes push yourself to the limit and your body can kind of tell you it's too much sometimes. So it's important to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for the most part, a lot of our student athletes have said that Western does a pretty good job at facilitating that and working with students. But it's definitely a really important thing to know that it can affect you beyond just mentally.
Yeah.
That it does go into the rest of your health. But kind of last question as we close out the interview. What are your final words to Catamount Nation as we reach towards your final weeks as a student athlete?
I'm going to try not to cry. But I definitely want to thank Catamount Nation. They are the ones that have made everything possible for me and have made me fall in love with this place so much. And, you know, there's a reason why I don't want to leave. It feels like home away from home. And there's so many donors out there and people that you've met along the way that just make it such a memorable place. So thank you for making it such an easy place to call home.
Thank you for those great words for Catamount Nation. That does wrap up today's Senior Sendoff with Sadler Miller. Thank you, Sadler, for now 4 appearances on the show. That is, I think, like tied for the most currently. So that's pretty cool. But thank you all for watching, and go Cats.